Hello lovelies, welcome back to my channel. On today's video, I'll be showing you how to make this beautiful top with necktie. If you haven't subscribed to our channel, please like and subscribe to our channel. And to our subscribers, I want to say thank you very much. Come along, let's jump right to it. I'll be using 1.5 for this tutorial. And the reason why I'm using 1.5 is because the client wanted short sleeve. So I advise you use 2 yards of chiffon fabric or silk fabric. Then I went ahead and I just used my basic bodice pattern and I came up on the bottom part by 2 inch to get that shape. But we won't be using that. That's because if you want to use this length of the dress, you can use the pattern. For this top, I'm just going to use the waist measurement, and you can use exactly the way it is. When you get to the waist, you just give it a bit of design, a curve, okay? But that's not what I'm doing. This is an old pattern of my client, and I'm just using the waist for it. So that is the essence of pattern paper. You can reuse the pattern paper to do different designs for your client. So I'm making the top, but I'm going to do an A-line shape from the waist area. Okay, so take your pattern paper, place it on your fabric and cut out the desired length and shape that you want. If you don't want an A-line, if you want it to be straight, just cut it out after you've drafted your pattern and you've pinned it to your fabric. After pinning it from the waist area, I'm going to take my tape and I'm going to mark 12 to 13 inches. It all depends on how long you want the top to be. So I'm going to come down by 12 or 13 inches. After you've marked it, you are going to connect it all the way to the front. So you can use your curve ruler or you can connect it straight. But that was what I did. I connected it straight. So it's an A-line, so you just mark it and give it that shape. So after marking the 12 inches, I connected it straight to the other end, the cotton fold area, and I used my ruler to give it the A-line effect on the waist area. So just connect it with your ruler and that is it. You are going to cut it out. After cutting out the front, use the front pattern to cut out the back. The top does not have zipper allowance, okay? It's the front that we'll be working on and we're going to attach the necktie to the front. After cutting it, I went ahead and separated the back from the front. I kept the back piece aside. Then on the front neckline, I came down by 1 inch, okay, because I used 2 inch for both of the front area and I don't want it to be too high. So on the front neckline, I came down by 1 inch and I'm going to connect it all the way to the shoulder. So after doing that, you cut it out and we'll start working on the neck of the front. After cutting it out, instead of using the piece of fabric that I have for this neck design that I'm going to make, the V-neck, I'm going to use pattern paper so that you'll be able to see everything that I'm doing. So you are going to take a piece of fabric and you place it underneath the neckline. And after you've placed it, you just cut out the neckline and we'll work on the V-neck. So on the V-neck, you are going to come down by 3 cm. Mark the 3 cm or 4 cm. It depends on how deep you want it to be. But I think I use 6 cm for mine because I don't want it to be very short. Then after doing that, you mark 1 cm. That 1 cm is the part that we are going to sew for our V-neck line. You can increase it also. You can make it 2 cm so that it will be a bit deeper. Then just mark the side of the neckline. It's like turning your neckline for the front, but what we are doing is we are just turning that front side. We're not doing it all the way to the shoulder. I'm going to show you what I'm talking about. So I cut it out and I'm going to work on the V shape. So I had to cut out the excess because it won't get to the shoulder. Don't worry, I will show you when I'm about to insert it to the top. You are going to get the V shape, and in order for you to get the V shape, you have to mark different areas. So on the other side, not the cut-off, from the cut-off fold area, you mark 1 cm. You come in and you mark 1 cm. Then you come down and you mark 2 cm or 3 cm. So you mark it and you connect it with your ruler. But I used my free hand, so the V shape did not come out as I expected. So use your ruler for you to be able to get that perfect shape. Then after you've done it on this side, you turn it over to the other side and mark it exactly what you have on the other side. Transfer it to this other side. So you are going to go ahead and mark that 1 cm. Okay, so that 1 cm that you've gotten, you connect it. But I advise you use your straight ruler. It's going to actually give you the V shape that you want for it. So whatever you have on this pattern paper is what you are going to transfer to the fabric. Okay, so you place it on your fabric and transfer it. Can you see the V shape that I'm talking about? If it stood down for you, you can take it up a bit. Okay, if it stood down, you just do what I'm doing, just take it up a bit because it stood down. So I'm going to do this now. I'm going to transfer it to the piece of chiffon fabric that I have, and we'll be placing it on the front piece. I've transferred what I had on the pattern paper to my piece of interfacing that I'll be using to turn the front, okay, to get that V shape. What I'm going to do is I'm now going to shorten the interfacing or the lining piece, whatever you wish to call it. So I'm going to shorten it because I don't want it to be as long for the entire neckline. It's just that front area that I want it. So I'm going to take my scissors and I'm going to cut it out for it to be very, very short. Okay, so do the same thing for yours. You can just measure whatever you need, but I just don't want it to be much. Can you see it? You see that small part? That is what we just need, that V-shape area. So you place it on the contour fold area, and that's how you are going to achieve it. So when you are done, you are going to open up your fabric front side, and you are going to use the interfacing or lining piece to turn it front side. So what you are going to do is you are going to stitch it. So let me use the pattern paper to show you what I mean. You place it this way and you stitch it, that V shape that you marked. That is what you are going to stitch. So after stitching it, you take your scissors and you open it up at the middle and you turn it over. Okay, so that is basically what you are going to do. So I'm going to stitch it now and I'm going to show you how it looks before we turn it over. This is it after stitching. Take your scissors and open it up. So you are going to open up the middle, that middle of the v-neck. Open it up and you flip it over. I use hemming gum to iron mine, but you can top stitch on it, okay? It does not really matter, or you use it to turn it the same way we turn neckline. But I use hemming gum to iron it and it came out very, very nice. So notch the area that you've sewn and just flip it and iron it very, very well so that it will be relaxed. Okay, it will relax very well, be well placed. After ironing it, I'm going to show you what to do next. This is it after ironing. What you are going to do next is you are going to join the shoulder to shoulder together. So can you see it? I used hemming gum and it was really well placed and relaxed. Place the front and the back together and stitch the shoulder to shoulder. After stitching it, this is how it looks. What you are going to do next is you are going to take your ruler and measure the neckline. So, but before doing that, you have to notch the midpoint of the back. And if the neck is small, you have to be very careful, but take it to your mannequin and cut it out so that you'll be able to have a bigger neckline for your client in case you find out it's small. So I fold the back into two and I notch the midpoint. That's going to help while attaching the rope to it. That part will be using for the tie. So you take your tape and you measure it. So measure the neck circumference from that V-shaped side that you have. You can come up by 1 cm and measure it round. And when you are done to the other side of the neck, you have to measure it and stop by 1 cm also. Okay, so do the same thing for yours. After measuring it, what I had was 23.5 inches. I'm going to keep it aside and we're going to cut out the tie that we'll be using for the neckline. Take a piece of fabric and you cut out the desired length you want for how long you want it to be. But for the wideness, I use 5 inches. After stitching it, you end up with 2 inches when you fold it into two. Okay, so remember when you fold your fabric, you'll be having 2.5 inches, but we'll be stitching it with 1/2 inch on both sides. So that's going to give us 2 inches. So you are going to take the piece of fabric and cut how long you want the tie to be. If you want it to be very long, it all depends on you. I used the total of 40 something inches, I think 46 inches for mine. So that's what I use, and I'm going to cut it out. You can cut out two pieces and join the midpoint, but I did not cut out two pieces and join the midpoint. I cut out one straight fabric. After cutting it, take the fabric and fold it into two equal parts. Then after you fold it into two equal parts, that part that is folded, you are going to notch it up and down. So you notch the upper part and the bottom part. That is going to be our center back area. Okay, so when you are done, you are going to take your tape and you are going to divide whatever you have for your neckline into two. So what I did was my neckline was 23.5. I used 24 inches. Then I divided it into two. Or you can just use exactly what you have, but I end up using the 23.5 actually because I want it to be accurate. So you divide into two, and whatever you have, you are going to notch that area or just mark it as an opening. So you open it up on the both sides. That's now going to be our neckline. So that's where you will stop stitching. Okay, that is where you start and that is where you stop stitching when you fold it into two. So after marking it now, you go to the bottom part of the necktie and you are going to stitch it up. So you fold it into two and you stitch it all the way and stop at that part that you mark for the neckline. So you stop there and you go over to the other side and stitch, and you also stop at the same part. So you can start stitching there and you get what I mean. So when you are done, turn it over and iron it up. So I'm going to show you exactly what I'm talking about when I'm done stitching. This is it after stitching, and this is how it looks. So you are going to use your scissors or whatever tool you have to turn it. So I use my scissors. Be very careful if you are using your scissors so that you not open up the fabric. And I use it to turn out the necktie. Okay, so I use it to turn out the necktie, and you'll be having opening. That opening is what we'll be using to turn out our dress, our top. Sorry about that. So you do the same thing for the other side and you iron it. So while ironing it, you'll be ironing it 1/2 inch on both sides for that open area. And the 1/2 inch is what we'll be using to turn it out. I've ironed it out and this is how it looks. What you are going to do now is you are going to take it and you are going to pin it up to your top. You pin it to the top and you are going to stitch. So you start pinning from the V neck area, and you can start stitching from the front, you can start stitching from the back. But I start stitching from the back and I'm going to turn it. It's like turning your bias actually. So I pin it up on the V-neck area. I stop at half an inch or 1 cm. So you can use 1 cm. It's actually very more accurate than using half an inch. Half an inch seems a bit bigger. So pin it all the way down to the other side of the front neckline, that V-neck. So you pin it up and you stitch. I'm going to show you after stitching how it looks. Then we are going to turn it. It's just the same way you turn your bias and also turning off your Mandarin collar or your bishop neckline. So stitch it up. I'll show you what to do next. After stitching it, this is how it looks. So you are going to take it now and flip it over to the front, and you are going to close it up. Okay, so you top stitch on it and you fill it. So flip it over all the way to the front and you stitch. So this is how you are going to do it. You pin it up and stitch it. I advise you use stay or paper stay for your tie, okay, so that it will be very strong and firm. But I did not use for mine. I'm going to stitch it up, add the sleeve to the top and stitch the sides together. So this tutorial is basically for the neckline. So when I'm done, I'm just going to show you how it looks. So you see what I'm doing? That's how you are going to fold it, and that is how you are going to stitch it up. This is how it looks after stitching. I'm done with it. I've attached the neck, I've attached the sleeve and joined the sides together. So this is basically it. It's very simple, something that you can make very, very easily. Guys, it's very, very easy to make. You can make for your friends, you can make for your church choirs in case they are looking for something like this, because I know choirs, ushers usually wear things like this. You can just do that and it will be something you make and you say to them. Thank you so much, guys. Thank you for watching today's tutorial. Please don't forget to like and subscribe to our YouTube channel. Bye, guys.